everyone. This is my first time going live, and I'm doing it all by myself, so hopefully it goes well. I'm here today with Big Boy. Big Boy is a rescue who was abandoned on my doorstep, basically. Someone tossed him inside the front gates of my patio and took off. And initially, I felt like I didn't have the time or energy to deal with Big Boy, so my landlord took him onto his side of the property and was going to take him to the shelter, but as it turns out, the shelters are full and they can't see us for another 2 months. And in that time period, I got to know Big Boy a little bit, and he's a very sweet dog. So I decided that I would try to foster him and find him a new home instead, because the chances of him finding a new home at the shelter are a little bit iffy, especially since the shelters are overflowing and he's such a big dog. He's like a wolf. And so I've been waiting purposefully not to do any training with him so that I can do some training live to demonstrate what it's like to train a dog who hasn't had any formal training. And so that's what you're going to be seeing today. And before I get started, I'm going to put a drag leash on him. And that's just the best practice if you're starting out with a new training session with a new dog. It prevents your dog from just walking off and doing anything else that they want to while you're training them. So I'd recommend keeping a drag leash on your dog while you're training. And as you can see, Big Boy is a jumpy guy. He loves to jump on people. So I'm going to start by playing a training game with him that reinforces a nice sit. Good boy. And the game is called It's Your Choice. It's a choice and rewards based training game where, depending on whatever Big Boy does, is how I respond to him. And I want to reward good choices when he shows me self-control. And I want to discourage when he just tries to steal a treat from me. So that's how the game starts. You're controlling access to a fistful of treats, and then your dog has to figure out how to get them from you. So Big Boy's doing pretty good, actually. He figured this out pretty fast. And most dogs do, to be honest with you. These games really can show you just how brilliant your dog really is. And so as long as he's not trying to steal a treat, I will just keep my fingers open. But anytime he tries to steal a treat, I will close my fingers and deny him the reward. And he learns from that. So he learns that there's a consequence for the choices that he's making during a training process. And I'm not trying to control him. I'm not telling him no or pushing him away when he makes a choice that I don't want to encourage. I'm just letting the consequence speak for itself. And so pretty soon what you will see when you train your dog this way is that after a while, they just start to adopt the target behavior because it's the only thing that they get rewarded for, and the unwanted behavior just starts to die down naturally because they don't get any reinforcement for it. What a good boy you're being. Good job. So anytime he tries to help himself, I just stop him. And then I open my fingers again to see what his choice is. And if he makes a good choice like he is right now, he's waiting for me to give him a treat, he gets rewarded. And that's why this is such a great game, because it really empowers your dog to start to make these good choices. And it just naturally reinforces when they start to show you more focus and self-control. Good job. Good job, Big Boy. Good job. And now I'm going to play with him, actually, and I did forget to grab his toy. Let me go grab that really quick. So in between treat training sessions, it's a good idea to give your dog a break and let them blow off some steam. And it is referred to as a balance break. And the goal is to just let your dog take a break from all the focus and concentration and have a good time playing with you. And it can also teach your dog to bite on something appropriate, like a toy, rather than your arms or your feet, which most dogs will do in the beginning. Hey, big boy. And Big Boy is particularly mouthy, so he seems to think it's okay to put his mouth on you because he hasn't really had much training. So it's really extra important to have a long tug toy when you're playing these games with your dog because you want to make sure that there's lots of surface area for them to bite on. So that they're less likely to go for your hands or your clothes or your feet. Hey, big boy, come on. Come on, big boy, please. Come on. So I'm going to go back to it's your choice, and I'm going to advance the game a little bit. Good boy. And so to advance the game, once your dog can see the treats and not try to steal them, you can start to place the food on the ground and see what your dog's choice is. So I'm going to place something on the ground, and he came right towards it as soon as I started to put it towards the ground, so I just put it right back in my hand, and that's a consequence that he learns from. So I'm going to try again. Sit. Good boy. And so you're in charge of the consequences, and based on what your dog does is how you respond to them. And your dog learns that their behavior matters. If they stay in their sit when you place the treat on the ground, then you'll give it to them. But if they leave the sit, then you're going to remove the treat. And so pretty soon what you'll see is that your dog stops trying to steal the treat because you just never let them get it. Good boy. And it's a game. If he tries to take it, the treat goes away. And when your dog returns to a sit, you can always reward them for that because you want to communicate with them through the delivery and the non-delivery of the treats, what behavior is acceptable and what behavior is not. And you set the criteria, and then you just need to stick to it. And then your dog needs to figure out what the criteria is. So once you get to this point where you're placing the treat on the ground, you're looking for your dog to stay in the sit. So you're actually moving into building out a sit-stay with this stage of the game. He's learning to hold his sit for a longer time period. Good boy, big boy. Good job. And he's never been trained before like this. I've never played these games with him. He's just a smart boy, and he's figuring it out very, very quickly. He tried to go for it, so I just picked the treat up, and he's gonna learn from that experience. He returned to his sit, so I'm gonna reward him because I wanna keep hinting to him that the sit is a great idea, and then I'm gonna try again. Good boy. Good boy. And a balance break. Get. So he is pretty hungry. He had a really long walk this morning. He's much more interested in the food than he is in the toys, and I'm gonna see if I can get him to play with me one way or another. And his impulse is to just put his mouth on my wrists or jump up on me or grab my clothes. So I really want to train him not to do that. And one of the best ways to do that is to get them biting on a tug toy. So you let them fulfill those natural urges, but on something appropriate. You wanna play? He's a little worried because my dog Crackers is in the next room and she's protesting that she's not allowed to participate right now. So you know what, I'm gonna bring Crackers out because I haven't trained her in a little while like this. She usually just gets trained on walks. And what I'm gonna do is just tie Big Boy up momentarily while I go get her. All right, come on out. So I'm gonna start fresh with It's Your Choice with Crackers. She's been doing pretty good with Big Boy around. She really likes him. But Crackers is a resource guarding dog, so I do have to be careful about making sure that I feed the dog separately. And she's also very possessive of spots where she likes to rest around the house. So we've had a few like minor scuffles, but nothing major. But I do make sure to always feed them separately, and I do have to be very careful about giving equal attention to both dogs and reassuring Crackers that she's still number one around the house. All right, Crackers. Good job. I really don't like being on camera, so I figured if I booked a live session, it would force me to get in front of the camera, which is exactly what's happening, but it's maybe not exactly going as planned. So back to It's Your Choice with Big Boy. I'm controlling access to a fistful of treats, and he has to figure out how to win them from me. That's how this game works. Come here. Come here. All right. Is anybody even here? Come here, Big Boy. Let me put you over here. behind you. You're gonna play now? All right. So now I'm playing It's Your Choice with Crackers. Crackers is my dog. I've had her for about a year now. She mostly gets trained on walks and not around the house much anymore, just because I'm time pressed. So I haven't actually played this game with her in quite a while. But it's a really simple and fun game. It's a way to reinforce a nice sit and a sit stay. Come on. And it's all incorporating your dog's choice to offer you the behaviors, which is empowering for your dog. They learn that if they do the behavior, that they will get rewarded, and so they start to see the value of the behavior themselves, which is why this method of training is, in my opinion, superior to every other method of training out there. And so the criteria is a sit, not a down. So if your dog lies down while you're playing the game with them, you just wait for them to re-adopt the sit. Trainer Crackers is a very headstrong dog. She's definitely the toughest dog that I've ever trained. She's persistent. And I think persistence is something that is helpful for a dog if they're fending for themselves, but it can definitely give trainers a run for their money. For instance, it took me about 4 months to teach her not to jump on the furniture. Anytime she was free roaming around the house, she would try to get on, and I had to keep a drag leash on her for probably the first 6 months so that I could communicate consequences to her, that I wasn't going to ever allow her to jump on the furniture. And 4 months is a really long time for a dog to finally get the message. So she's a persistent dog. She must have learned that she could just get her way if she just kept at stuff. So, oh no, you don't want to train with me anymore? All right, that's a little better. So I just waited her out. She didn't get a reward for lying down. She returned to the sit, and now I'm engaging with her again. And so it's all your dog's choice, and they learn that their behavior matters as a result. Whatever choice they make is going to determine whether they get a reward or not. Good girl. Good girl. She had a long walk this morning, so she is a little bit tired. All right, maybe I'll put you in the pen. How about that? Come on. You go in this pen. Come on, Crackers. Inside. Come on. All right, big boy. Want to try again? And so once your dog figures out that the sit is what you're after, then you can start to introduce the cue. So I'm just going to move Big Boy around and see what happens. I'm going to show him the treats and see if he will adopt a sit or if he's going to try to steal. And as you can see, he was just trying to steal all the treats off of the cubby. And I stopped it. All right, well, this was maybe a little bit of a chaotic live training session. This is the first time I've ever trained big boy, and it's the first time Crackers has ever been excluded from a training session in my house. So I'm going to try this again another time. But I hope that if anyone came and joined me today, that you got some value from this video, and I will see you next time.